Halo Campaign Evolved officially releases to everyone today, and over the weekend, a large part of the conversation about the remake has been centered around this character in the three prequel missions, Lieutenant Williams. Now, I say conversation because it's really just been a lot of comments based in ignorance and degeneracy, trying to present themselves as a thinly veiled criticism on why this release for the Halo franchise is so bad. To get it out of the way up front, right? The Campaign Evolved is not a bad game. It's a faithful remake that presents the Halo Combat Evolved campaign in a modern way. And I think it's a definitive way to experience the Combat Evolved campaign after 25 years later. When I go back to play the Combat Evolved campaign, I'm going to go to Campaign Evolved over getting my old Xbox out or replaying it through the Master Chief Collection. So the remake is not perfect. It's not a masterpiece. It's not some revolutionary game, but it is not bad. It is a quality remake at the end of the day that does have technical issues and some questionable design decisions, but none of that pertains to this character. There are valid criticisms for these prequel missions, which I'll get into in a minute, but none of it stems from Lieutenant Williams, and most importantly, the character being a female. A lot of the conversations or comments I'm seeing hinder on her gender in the prequels, and it's so hilariously stupid that I can't help but laugh at it. So the things that I'm saying is that she's off-putting and makes and is presented as a girl boss. I even had to go look what girl boss looks up, right? I thought initially, oh, these people are saying that she's bossing Chief around, which doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, this character has less than 5 minutes of screen time and dialogue presence throughout the prequel missions. So let's kind of go through and pick apart the most common ones that I'm seeing, right? The first being that she's off-putting, okay? The off-putting nature here was intended for the character based on the established Halo lore. There are so many comments that I'm seeing of people making these claims that like, oh, why is she talking to Chief this way? It's just because they want her to be a quote-unquote girl boss and a aggressive female. And it is really hilarious that it illustrates the absolute ignorance of the actual Halo established story, that she is an ODST. And at this point in the Human Covenant War, they do not like Spartans because Spartans have been genetically enhanced to be super soldiers, and ODSTs feel like that the humanity is looking to them to be the symbols of hope and saviors in the war versus the ODSTs who have been fighting for a very long time and putting their lives on the line. It makes complete sense that she would feel this way upon seeing a Spartan in person coming to rescue them on this ship, because for all of these years, Spartans had been built up to be this mythical force that weren't actually seen, but put forth more as a military, as Lieutenant Williams puts it, PR campaign. That line has also been parroted online here to be some sort of negative thing. And it's even hilarious because I saw multiple people completely unaware that Williams is even an ODST, even though the game literally tells you that she is part of an ODST troop. So this criticism of like, oh, she would never say these things to the Chief, she's not even an ODST. These people are just woefully ignorant to the actual Halo universe, the characters, the lore established, and are really just looking for something to whine about, to give off that cultural war vibe. It's complete ignorant, and it doesn't hold any water. It's completely appropriate for this character to be saying these things and acting standoffish to Master Chief when they meet. And the other stuff is your usual like ignorant nonsense about, oh, let's get ChatGPT to make this character look pretty. She has been trapped on a Covenant carrier being put into a hunting simulation for weeks now. Of course they're not going to look pretty and dolled up when you're going through that, right? So it's just complete, I'll spare some of the terminology, but it's a lot of ignorance, sexism, and degeneracy that is being presented to her. And it goes to show the lack of media literacy with some of these crowds, especially as later on in the mission, and I'll fast forward to it right now, there is a conversation that is about to play here between Johnson, Chief, and Williams.
You think they make Spartans to push buttons, Sergeant Major?
Williams says, did they make them to push buttons? And Johnson responds that, like, hey, there's a history here, but no matter what happens in the past, you're fighting the same war, right? And here's the relevant part.
Look, Marines like us used to be the heart and soul of the UNSC. Until we started playing second fiddle to soldiers that were built instead of born.
We can't change where we come from.
That was me!
Only what we become.
It actually spells out for you. Here is why Lieutenant Williams feels standoffish toward Chief. The ODSTs as a whole, at this point in the Halo universe, feel as if Spartans were just being made to replace them after they put their lives on the line for so many years. And what does Chief respond with? A very mature take of, it doesn't matter what you were built or born to be. It matters what you do with those abilities and the choices you make with what you were gifted. And that is a very good thesis, not just for these prequel missions with the Covenant, which I'll talk about in a minute, but also with Chief's character as a whole. Despite this ODST being essentially mean to him and standoffish, he's embracing them and looking toward the common goal, which is something that all people should strive to do. And that the comments that are sexist and ignorant and degenerate are going against the very character that Master Chief is. So it's just kind of hilarious that you see a certain crowd talking about how this is so bad and rooted in sexism and bigotry when the main character of the series is an outsider who makes choices to save humanity. It's hilarious. But all of the criticisms of Lieutenant Williams, even going so far to being like, oh, this is trash, this is why Halo is ruined, blah, 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 blah. It's just all ignorant, right? Now let's actually talk about some substantive criticisms of the prequel campaign missions. I think they would have been better served if they had pushed the ODST and Spartan rivalry as the B plot rather than the main focus. And I say that because the sect of the Covenant here and the Prophet of Harmony is doing some very interesting things with the Gene Forge, and it feels like a plot that gets pushed to the side as the ODST not liking Spartans and then seeing Chief giving them a reason to like them through his actions comes through, right? So you see the change of the Halo 4 and 5 elites and jackals in the Gene Forge that Harmony is experimenting on, and then it's never really touched on again, which is unfortunate because there's a direct parallel to what humanity did with the Spartan program, right? Their genetic mutations and enhancements, and that just kind of gets pushed to the side with the more focus on the ODSTs, and it never really comes back again. It gives some interesting potential exploration for the series, but I think it would have been better served having that be the focus with the Spartan ODST rivalry coming together toward the end. The prequel missions are also nothing too special in gameplay. It is your very standard Halo format of come into a room, have multiple waves of enemies come out, fight them. The brutes don't really provide anything here from a combat satisfaction. You shoot the rage inhibitor off and they can attack other enemies there, but that's about the extent of it. No helmets fly off. You don't really get any damage indicators that you're taking them down at that point. The prequel areas here are very well designed, I think, in the outdoor areas. It does make you feel like you're in a hunting game simulation, but there's a lot of the Truth and Reconciliation Covenant interiors copied and pasted. The other big criticism of these prequel missions, I think, is that the end result of the ODSTs is not really, it's not a good payoff because you don't get to see the relationship develop for longer than a few minutes. Like I said, Williams only has less than 5 minutes screen time and dialogue time in these levels. So that end for them in the space battle does feel a little undeserving, and it's not as big of a payoff. What I did like about the prequel missions, though, is that it does build on Johnson and Chief's relationship. Yeah, a good criticism is that it does feel a little buddy cop-ish, but there's some attention to detail there that is relevant for the rest of the series. Like when Chief and Johnson give each other the fist bump, and then Johnson bumps Chief on the shoulder as he's walking off. That called back to me the scene in Halo 2 when they're dropping on Delta Halo and Johnson walks by and Chief and him fist bump through the drop pod. So I think that's well done. Overall, the prequel missions are there. They're nothing that very much adds or expands on anything, but it's more Halo, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So, again, the remake, Halo Campaign Evolved, is not a bad remake in any means. It's a good remake, and it does what it's intended to do, which is obviously give some practice with the Unreal Engine and bring Halo forward after a 5-year gap from Infinite. I think it's a faithful remake in the original 10 missions that are redone and very well done. So if you're seeing a lot of these criticisms online about like, oh, this game is ruined because of this one specific character with ChatGPT screenshots to alter their appearance, just know that it's a lot of the standard grifting, ignorant nonsense. And it's not horrible. It's not poorly done. It just exists. The prequel missions just exist there. There's some good ideas with the Covenant storylines, with Johnson and Chief's relationship building, with fleshing out some of the ODST Spartan rivalry at that point in the war. But that's what it is. It's not revolutionary. It doesn't add to the experience of the original Combat Evolved missions. So if you're thinking about picking out Campaign Evolved today, if you enjoyed Halo at all, I think you'll enjoy this. Is it perfect? No, not by any means. Are there some technical issues that hopefully get lined out? Yeah, for sure. Does it ruin the experience and make it unplayable or not worth your money? No. If you've never played Halo Combat Evolved before, pick this up. If you're interested in a classic first-person shooter at all, you will enjoy it. If you are a Spartan veteran through the series, this is a faithful remake that I think deserves at least one playthrough. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you felt about the prequels. Let me know how you feel about the remake as a whole. And I'm diving back in to continue my Legendary All Skulls on playthrough.